So happy to see you. So happy to see all of you guys. It has really been a long time since I've done any of the shows, especially here on the Wicca, Witchcraft, Wicca, Eclectic Spirituality channel. And I've been wanting to do it, but, you know, as a lot of you know, I was battling health for about 8 years. I mean, I'm still battling it, but just not up to the degree that I was. And I'm in a lot better shape now. And I'm trying to get a little bit more of who I am back, you know, after everything I went through with the breakup and the bad health and all of that. I just wanted to be me again and try to find myself again. Be who I know I can be and do what I like to do. And so, not to mention, I've been missing all of you guys. How about that moon we're having? Yes, it's gorgeous. I haven't been out there tonight, and it's the waning moon, if I recall. But the night before last, it was magnificent whenever I looked at it. And how about that blue supermoon that we just had back in August 30th? That was something else. That was just, you know, always be you what? I'm sorry, I'm a little lost. But, oh, yeah, I got you. Always be you. And, you know, once you're married for a long period of time, a lot of times you become them. You lose yourself and don't even know who you are anymore, or forget that you liked a certain kind of music or a certain kind of movie shows or whatever, you know. But yeah, that super blue moon, that was magnificent. And I actually stuck all of my old altar tools, every last one of them, by the way, and my god and goddess statue, all my crystals, I stuck them out on a table arranged to where the moon could hit every last one of them. For each of those 3 moons, actually the 2 moons, the moon before the supermoon and then the supermoon, right? And I didn't want to put them out on the 3rd moon because then it's waning. And so I didn't want to have the energy go away from me. I wanted to bring the energy into my objects, into my altar tool and everything. My son has big problems with the law trying to get his children back. They're making things up, and children are in foster care system and are not happy. He also needs a new place to move to. But man, that's bad to hear. But yeah, I mean, these are trying times, and I don't know. I mean, there's so much that goes into any situations. Yeah, the end of the month of October is going to be really good too. As a matter of fact, I intend to do some really good stuff because the full moon will be Saturday and Halloween will be on Tuesday, if I remember right. And I'm going to do some major works in between that time, you know, for health, for money and prosperity, because God knows I need all of it. You know, Goddess knows I need all of it. Yeah, so many different things that we all need in our life, and we're all strapped in so many different bad situations that it's trying, you know. And basically, you know, if you could get your son to comply in all of his situations, have him burn some empowerment candles, which would be like a purple candle, and anointed, after it's been cleansed with some holy water and prayers, anointed with an empowerment oil, which would be like high john, patchouli, dragon's blood, stuff like that. Oils that you know are for empowering. And write his prayers on the bottom of it, because it sounds like he's got enough of them. And so you would have him do his prayers down there and then stick it, you know, underneath the candle, of course, with the candle in a fire safe dish, right? And so basically, that's what I would encourage him to do in his current situation. And if it's to do with other people, like say the kids, then make sure those names and their birthdays are included at the bottom of that prayer and that they come back to him, right? But yeah, there's so much that we're all faced with right now. I mean, I don't know of anybody that's not getting propounded by the standard difficulties of life, and sometimes from every different side. As a matter of fact, I've had to evaluate this month a lot as to whether somebody was doing dark magic castings on me. Whether somebody is doing stuff to attack me spiritually, and I started going about to doing all the proceeds that would deflect that, send it back to them, and protect myself from what is coming. Because, in all reality, I mean, I'm the biggest, most well-known psychic reader from between Beaumont and Houston, the two largest towns here in my part of Texas, right? I am the largest known psychic between those two towns. And I started getting prank calls from a psychic Bob and a psychic Angel all in the same day. And all of this after I were getting many, many other prank calls. This time, I'm sure that they forgot to cloak themselves on their phone number, because you can call other people on what would appear to be different numbers, right? And, so there's that, and then there's everything that's been going on with me. And so I started doing all my protective works, all my cleansings, all the sending things back, and if I keep getting it, I'm going to push back in a very hard way, which, by the way, with me is actually a last resort. The dark magic rules the majority. No one or many has the right to take from another. This is the law. That's right. And karma is supposed to actually oversee that, but sometimes for a lot of us, karma just can't come quick enough, right? I mean, seriously. Especially if someone has already ruined so many different aspects of your life, And so, yes, I do not like to attack back spiritually and with my witchy works, but I can go gray. I mean, to me, and a lot of people will argue the idea that there is such thing as light magic, dark magic, black magic, white magic, gray magic in between, or whatever. And, in the beginning there wasn't, but these were tags and titles that we learned how to place on things to where we could actually understand what the other person was talking about, right? Everything needs a tag and title because that's what human language is, right? It's a bunch of tags and titles to where we can understand what the other is talking about. And when we have to put a tag or title on the different levels or varieties of magic, I would say I'm a light magic practitioner. However, if someone does something and they don't receive their just rewards for it, say like a person that's doing things with kids that they're not supposed to be doing, and they've been caught doing it and the law don't bring them to justice, I don't mind stepping into gray magic, which would be an idea. And gray magic to me is my idea of implementing justice where it's needed, and in a good judgmental, logical way, right? And I don't mind doing that. And if somebody is casting me and hurting me and mine, then I will also step into my gray side and I'll protect my family. I can't think of anybody who wouldn't do that. physically, if it's in the physical world, anybody would protect their family. So why wouldn't we, within the magical world, protect ourselves and our family wherever it's needed that we do so when someone is harming us or the ones that we love? And I've had this instance, and as a matter of fact, I was working on a video not long ago that I don't believe I ever ran up, and don't know if it was in its finished, finality or whatever, finality. But about shit. Talking about a brain moment, guys. Okay, but yes, having to step into shoes that you don't want to is sometimes something that you have to do to protect yours and the people that you love. And I've had so many different things happening lately, and I've narrowed down the 3 probable sources, right? And generally, I'm not sending anything onto anyone particular, because that would be wrong if I don't know who's doing it, right? But I have scried it down to 3 sources. And so whenever I finish narrowing that, then I will probably implement a scope of justice against them to bring them to karma a lot quicker. And I don't just do the law of 3. I do a 10-fold times 3. When somebody really screws with me and mine, I like to hit back hard. I want to make sure that they're not going to do it again, and that they're not going to do it to anybody else. Especially if it's the same people that was casting on me at the time that I had come into Cancer. Okay? And water started pouring down the inside of my wall on Halloween nights. Now, mind you, this was about 7 or 8, this was 8 years ago, actually. And it sticks in my mind quite well. But whenever it's somebody you know, and especially if it's somebody that you've taught, then it could really get in your craw. And then you feel like implementing a form of justice. Let's see. I agree. Some people really need Karma Express for sure. Karma backlash sometimes don't come quick enough whenever you really need it. And yes, if you're talking about using mirrors, Saturn, I a lot of times do use mirrors, and I will open up a portal through a mirror and travel to those parties to where I have a direct access connection to them. When we help others, we help ourselves. Opposite is true. That's true. But a lot of times, it just doesn't come quick enough. But yes, I like to do things that help other people when I can. But when you're being attacked so strongly that you're spending all your time having to protect and help yourself all the time, and you don't have a lot of energy because of all the illness and everything that you were faced with, then it becomes quite hard, right? And a lot of times that's when you call a covenant together, or a group of friends, or at least one good friend, depending on what you've got at your fingertips. Now, I have been kind of out of the circuit of practicing with a lot of other people since I was leading the covenant that had started in 2000, and I had ended it in 2016 or thereabout, because I just felt I needed to retire and step away from it. Everybody just scattered to their own directions. Even other groups all broke apart in this area and scattered to many different directions. But it can be very hard. Yeah, it can. And you've got to hold a high ground. You've got to walk lightly and carry a big magic wand, right? And you've got to do what is in the best interest of you and your family. And my family is already in a lot of, you know, bad position within, you know, just standard everyday life. But whenever you have people attacking you on top of that spiritually, although by no means what I'm going through right now the largest time I was ever attacked, and I nipped that in the bud right away. Here, I'm pretty sure I nipped it in the bud right away, but a lot of times you aren't thinking in terms of that, and so you don't know what's going on until after it's already set in its chain of negative effects that won't manifest themselves until the first one starts manifesting itself. And then you start seeing them, bam, bam, bam. I don't understand what you're saying. For what? That I can use? I don't understand the word rosters or the way that you're using it. You have 4 modes of or ideas that you go by? Is that what it is? But yeah, I mean, you've got to do what you've got to do when you've got to do it. The thing is a lot of times you don't see it until it's already there, right? Now, it's a lot easier when you get warnings, right? I'm sorry. I hope I didn't make you roster like roosters? Because that looks like a rooster emblem. Like a chicken. Anyway, so basically we use what we have to and what we can get our hands on, and there's so many different types of magic that we have at our fingertips that we could apply in our best interest. I got you. Roosters. Black, I hope, if you're practicing voodoo, Santeria, or whatnot. But anyway, yes, and feathers equally work, I guess. I don't personally do any kind of animal bleeding out, but I can't judge anybody that does. I mean, everybody is entitled to their own form of magic and their own ways of doing things. But, you know, I mean, I have ways of going through a mirror and taking a few good friends with me whenever somebody is really Anyway, yeah, you do what you can whenever you have to. But I won't say, like, the strongest time I was ever spiritually attacked was about, I want to say, about that time, 9 years ago, right after. No, let's say, not that one. I want to say that the strongest spiritual attack that I had witnessed was about 5 years ago. And it's happened about 3 times, I want to say, since, and that's that I know of, because some of them just aren't big enough to where I would feel it or know any difference. But, you know, 3 or 4 times over the past 10 years since I had the channel going. And by the way, everybody, we are now celebrating since August the 27th, my 10th year anniversary of having this channel running. Seriously, even though I stepped away and had to get through my health crises and all my battles and everything, the channel has been running for 10 years. And we've actually grown in our subscribers, not lost them, in the 6 years that I was away. So that's saying something. You know, talking about a lot of very loyal, good people here on the channel. A good community I like here. So that's really cool. But that biggest attack that I had was when a warning came to me in the form of a scorpion in my sleep. And I actually jumped up, shaking the sheets down, trying to find that large brown scorpion that came to me, right? And then I calmed down and I relaxed and I said, okay, the scorpion is a symbol of self-preservation and protection, and it's a sign. So just calm down. It means that something's fixing to happen and I need to prepare myself for that, right? I'm still here. Thank you. Thank you. But I went back to sleep and then the attack started happening. And I was in my sleep being attacked and stabbed to death in the dark by small children. And then I woke from that screaming with my ex-husband waking me up saying, hey, wake up, you're screaming in your sleep and all of that. And then I'm like waking up and I'm like, oh my God. I said, okay, I'm good now. And I turned over to go back to sleep and I felt him get up to go to the bathroom. And I looked over at the bathroom, and at this time I'm wide awake. And I saw him lighting his way with his phone and right at the bathroom door. And so I laid my head back down and said, okay, he's just going to the bathroom. And then I reached behind me to turn myself over in my bed, and I felt his hip right beside me. So he was still in bed, right? So that was one hell of a night. And by the way, it was on another All Hallows Eve. And that seems to be when people want to try to stalk me or attack me spiritually. I think it's because it's known to us that it is our strongest time. But one day I'm going to get the shit down and I'm going to know that back in August I need to start doing all these protective works so that when Halloween rolls around, I won't have felt anything, right? And it'll have gone back to the people that are causing me grief. Are we the only people here, 3 of us? Huh. That would be weird. I know I've been away a long time and that I might not be as popular, but I do by all means try to be down to earth, friendly as could be, family to all, an ace among aces, right? I do. I really try, you guys. And I try to be me and just helpful as I can be, you know. But, you know, I've got to encourage you guys to, like, tell me about some of the experiences that you've had where you might have felt like you were being spiritually attacked. You know, I would love to hear, you know, things that you might have done to thwart these kind of events if you were faced with them, or how long it went on, who might have done it. I try to be. I really do. You guys are the best. I'm just Lady L. That's me. I'm Lady L. That's who I am. And I try to be good. I really do. I try to be good. But you guys are the best. Seriously. And I mean, that's what brought me back. Knowing that although the world is crumbling down around me, I've got friends here where I need them. And it's a matter of reaching out. A lot of times we might not know or think about the fact that we need to reach out, right? Walked upon some grays once. Were there any backlash? Did they try to get you for walking up on them? So yeah, the grays ain't so bad. I mean, they're the ones you just, you know, just really they're about justice, the majority of them, right? I guess it depends on how you defined the gray variable between light, black, white, black, or gray, right? How do you define the variables? Gray witches could be defined as people that would do white magic or black magic, just depends on what it's called on. And gray magic, in the way that I perceive it, which would be like a combination of your light side and your dark side together, would be like an idea of implementation of justice only and just staying on that line. But yeah, you really, we need to get better at knowing that we need to carry protection with us. Yes, we do protections on ourselves, we do protections on our house, and we may do protections for ourselves and then leave them at home, but we need to get used to, again, wearing our emblems and, non-human entities. But yeah, there is still the idea of charms and amulets we could carry with ourselves to protect ourselves. I know that shit is going to happen when my clock, which is weight strings stopped time, has a way of messing with you. Yeah. Well, we just got to think positive. We got to do things that make our lives positive. And, we'll talk about it. We'll teach it. We'll show other people how to do things when we're with them or whatever. But when we're by ourselves, a lot of times we could tend to be lazy pagans, which is, not doing works for ourselves, for our own self-preservation, blessing charms and wearing them or putting them on if we did. We tend not to do all the right things, right? Because we just generally dance to our own drum, walk to our own beat, right? And a lot of times we as pagans just fly by the seat of the pants, and we like to just go, and not have to think too wholeheartedly about everything. But yeah, we have to actually apply ourselves and do everything we can to make things better for ourselves. And yes, time is very important, and to be ahead of time is always better, but we just don't do that, do we? Wearing my protection around my neck and my rocks in a velveteen bag. Those are all really good measures. I also recently did Kitty Chun is in my lap. I don't know if y'all see her. I don't usually wear the neck charms except for on empowerment in a circle. And that's generally because you can wear them and don't have to have them in pockets, because I generally do my practice in a gown, right, without pockets. Or in the buff, depending on what the spell is needed or whatever, But generally when I'm alone, I like to practice skyclad and by myself, and you don't have pockets. So I'll wear my charm, and that'll be the only thing I carry into circle, unless of course I'm doing a video spell work for YouTube. And then I wear gowns, but I generally do a doll work or a jar work. It depends on what I've got around me. But I'll use the old Santeria vamped jar spell, but I'll add Witchcraft and Wicca twist to it to make sure I cover myself and protecting me from all magics, no matter what pathway that might stem from. And it protects against voodoo, Santeria, Witchcraft, Wicca, and more. And just about any of the others, but I'll do those in either a doll work or I'll do them in a jar spell, and those are vamped from the old Santeria works, which were probably vamped from the old voodoo works, right? I actually use both, and I'll use different methods and measures. I think I did a video here on the channel a while back where I used the doll works, or no, I did the jar work, and it was a really good spell work. A really good video, and it's on my channel here. But yeah, I'll generally sit down and I'll do a doll work, and I did one recently, but I accidentally washed it in my laundry. I went to my mom's with my laundry, and yes, I'm very much a teenager still, right? Okay. Anyway, now that we're past that and I've cleared that up for you, I stick my doll amulet, my doll work of protection. I stick it on the underside of my pillow in my pillowcase loosely, right? And I pulled my pillow out of it. And of course the talisman, it stayed in the pillowcase. You know what's coming already, right? And I went to my mom's with my laundry, and voila. The laundry had a lot of good herbs mixed into it. They came out smelling lovely. You know, of course, you know, the dryer filter is going to pick out a lot of the loose leaf, you know, and collect it so it doesn't ruin the dryer or anything. But yes, I laundered my doll work. Well, I still have the doll. I still have the black stone in it, I believe. I forgot to check about that one. And some of the other stuff. But what I've got to do is just re-cleanse it and purify it. Anoint the stuff that was in it. Get some new stuff to stuff it with. And place in there. Rewrite out my spell work prayer. And then start, you know, assembling it together, you know. But that was funny. Best smelling laundry ever. Yes, it was. I do like the freshest. But that was some good fresh smelling laundry. And the doll work, I guess. I mean, that really sucks. But yes, I've got to go back and I've got to redo my doll work once more. And right now, at, you know, this particular time coming up is the best time to do it. You know, it is always better to hang your clothes out in the sun, but certain cities won't let you whenever you're living in town, you know. It makes it very complicated. And me, I live within my business here on a commercial property and right in front of the highway. And so it really wouldn't look good to my potential clients going in back and forth. So, I mean, although I would really love to do that because it is really cheap, actually free, compared to the dryer. And those dryers run a lot of money. But, yeah, I mean, washing by hand or by scrubber, and then you know, doing the dryer hang or the line dry hanging is really good. Universe said was time for a new doll. Yep, it is. And I actually could use the same doll, the actual doll, but I've just got to acquire. I mean, I've got all of the stuff in there. I've just got to replace that, you know. But yeah, I hear you, country boy. But yeah, basically this doll work that I do, I don't know if y'all have seen them online, but it's the little crudely cut out and sewn dolls that are supposed to implement a form of a human, but it's so square and you know, crudely done, and with the mouth and eyes and all that drawn on. But they work. I mean, they really do. And so really it's what's inside the doll that counts. You know, generally I think I'm going back to my jar works for my clients because I feel a lot more about them. I guess because I did them for so long in my jars. When I say dolls, I'm talking about store-bought voodoo dolls that are really square, Gumby looking headed with just little square arms sticking out to the side and little square legs sticking out to the side also. And they've got a very thin layer of that, I guess, pressed cottony type polyester material on the inside. But it didn't really matter which kind you use, but that's an old voodoo aspect, where the jar spells that I do are more of a Santeria aspect within its physical form and within some of the ideas that go into it. But I just feel that I could do so much more with the jars, not to mention they're cheaper, because you go and spend what, like 75 cents for a good medium-sized jar with a lid on it, you know, that's just about the perfect size. And for these little dolls that I'm talking about, on a commercial level, if you don't have the wholesale account, then you spend like $10 for them. For a little crudely drawn thing that you could probably sew yourself if it were just for you. But I also sell to my clients and do doll works for my clients as well. Protection works, right? And so it all goes into the cost that I have to charge the client. But you can't mail the jar works with all the fluids in it and the glass and nails and tacks and screws all in it, needles and pin, because it's going to send off all kinds of alarms in the post office, and then they won't let it go through. If we were to induce a feeling in a doll, I would make it myself with intimate hair and cuts of clothing. And I would too, but there again, like I said, and you know, when I do the jar works or the doll works, it is within the spell work implemented that this doll is as you and you are as it. If this be you and you be it, in the name of the Almighty Deity's blessed being. You know, this jar or this doll is made to be a likeness of you, and the assembling of what goes into it, along with your hair and your nails and all of that, it becomes you. As you be it, may it be you. And basically, I mean, you just, you know, fill it with all the things, and if any enemies are known, then you would put their names into the jar in a type of a scroll work anointing with the right herbs in it. And a prayer likewise written out in your own handwriting and as small as possible, stuffed with herbs also and rolled up and then tied to be like a scroll work and then dropped into another side of the jar. A picture of the individual that you're protecting is on one side. So it's all in there, and the assembling it is what makes it you in the way that I do things. So it works just as well. So, I mean, I'm pretty content with that. I would sew them myself if I weren't doing them for all my clients and all of that, and I just don't have time, you know, and really, like I said, I'm probably going to stop buying the dolls unless it's for clients that live afar and I've got to mail it to them. You know how much shipping costs these days, right? But, you know, who all else is in the room still? Anybody? Nobody that's wanting to talk anyway. But yeah, these works are very important, and we've got to keep them up for ourselves. And they really only have to be done once a year. If we just remember and set it in our mind, you know, that we need to do it, maybe write it on the calendar and say, okay, every year at this time, then we're going to do this. And then just, you know, do it like clockwork, right? Then there's no more thought that needs to go into it. Let's see. Right. That's true. Depending on how my finger's feeling that day, I might make a doll. You know, you could... What I did was I didn't actually make a doll that I had to sew. In my earliest days, and I still do my charms this way, I would take all of my ingredients that I would nowadays put into a doll or into a jar work, and I would insert them into a certain way into a laid out satiny type material. Depending on what the spell work was for, I would choose the material color and sometimes even the material type, right? And I would lay this material out and I would insert all of my ingredients into it. You got to realize I'm an old witch, and this is one of my earliest notions on how to do what is now the doll work or the jar work for me. Because I went from doing this to doing the jar work, then to doing the doll work, right? But I would lay this out and I would insert all of the material, and you're doing all your prayers. You're telling each item what it's meant to be for, or who it's for, what it's about, and you do always make sure you apply your hair, your nails, one or the other, but it doesn't have to be both because they both do the same thing. A picture of you, probably very small is best. A little, your birthday, I already said your hair, your birthday, your full birthday, and your full name. A prayer written in your handwriting on as small of a piece of paper as you could possibly get. And if there's any enemies that you know of that's casting on you, you write them on the bottom of that prayer as being your enemies. And a little black stone that can fit in very small in the palm of your hand, and that acts as your heart, your soul, or your battery, and it replaces that aspect of you within the spell and keeps it ticking, right? And so before you finish your work and binding it all up, you're taking that stone and that prayer and laying the prayer out in front of you, laying the stone in your hand and praying over it the same thing that's written on the paper, and then giving it to the higher power and having them bless it and bringing down the white light to flood it out and empower the stone with, so you could then put it in there and battery your spell work. My aunt was an older witch, probably so. I don't like to think of myself as too old, but I've been practicing since 1983. I don't know how old she's been practicing. There's a lot of them out there. There's many, many people older than me. And definitely, you know, more knowledgeable or as knowledgeable or something. Found it repulsive when she converted to Christianity. Guess I was disappointed. I don't know. I guess a person might need different things or different aspects of spirituality within their life at different eras within their life. Either that or she let somebody get off in her head and start telling her a bunch of stuff. But, you know, I can't condone or condemn any pathway, especially on this channel, because I'm eclectic, or I profess to be eclectic, relating to the idea that there's no religion entirely right nor one entirely wrong. She was traditional, it is what I mean. Oh, I see. But, you know, I guess it just is that, you know, she needed... Did you fall off my lap, little girl? I got my kitty chun in my lap. I don't know if y'all see her or not. She's a sweetheart, and she's angry and mean a lot of the time too. But yeah, I don't know. We need different things in our life, and so we tailor our life as we go, and we'll take different pathways. God knows, I turned and twisted throughout my entire life. I started a non-denominational Christian ministress growing up. I was a Christian ministress by the time I was 18 years old, but by the time I was ordained, I came to the realization that there was no path that was entirely right nor one entirely wrong, and that there was so much out there. And so I began embarking on Buddhism and learning a bit about that. And then I wanted to learn about shamanism. And then I started learning about Wicca and witchcraft. And whenever it was over, I'm a non-denominational Christian ministress. I'm a high witch and a third degree Wiccan high priestess. The thing is, though, is none of those titles really mean that much to me anymore. Yes, it does mean that I've earned a lot I guess, place and being able to teach a lot of other people within these fields, or about just eclectic spirituality in general. But I am eclectic, and I realize that, and that's kind of the stripes that I live by now. And trust me, there's a lot of different colored stripes in there. I'm just a person of many different prisms, right? Prismal colors. And I mean, I like who I am. I like where I'm at on my path now, and I'm sure nobody's ever going to change me away from that at this point. Nor do I feel like I really want to set out on going back into the Christian belief system, although I'm not against them whatsoever, and I believe that there are a lot of valid points to their religion. I don't see myself wanting to variate back to that because it's just not where I'm at. I'm more into freedom and believing that it's not what's written on paper and by other men. It's what is given on word of mouth from history, and you take it as you will or leave what you won't. But you fly by the seat of the pants, enjoy your freedom, and make your religion your own. And that's what I live by now. That's what I believe. And as long as you're doing that, you can't go wrong. Your religion definitely has to be yours and nobody else's. And really, by the way, I keep saying religion, but really what I'm talking about is spirituality here. To me, religion is Christianity. It's laws, rules, walking a tightrope, doing things at a certain time, on a certain day, going to a certain place to do it, etc. That is being religious or doing things religiously. And so I look at that as religion. Whereas flying by the seat of the pants, taking the hippie way out, coming to the realization that no religion is entirely right, nor one is entirely wrong, treading all the different paths of paganism, and just being you, that is spiritual. And it's a matter of being centered within yourself and finding your good guru. Right. Religion, well, I mean, there are different ways of looking at that. Religion does equal, well, that's not true because, or I don't see things that way, I'll say. I don't see things as always being religious because I believe something, because I have a lot of beliefs, but I just don't do everything that other people say that you should do religiously. And so I don't make it a religion. I make it more of a spiritual center, a spiritual part of myself. And I try to center with myself, become at one with myself, and try to meditate and do what feels good to me. Yep, made my own belief in spiritual. Not going to change and not going to make anyone change their beliefs. Right. And so, I mean, we all have so many different ways of believing, and that's what's good about us. That's what's good about our pathways, or just what's good about, us being us, is that we could believe the way we want. We could do things in the way that we feel, do it on our own accord and by our own stripes. And we don't have to tag or title it, and that's one big thing about me. I'm not real big on tags and titles, I just think whenever it comes to somebody trying to pinhole themselves actually, as a certain thing or a certain way or whatever, I don't know. I believe in my own truths. As long as it coincides with truth, right? That's what matters. Belief is believe in you, believe in doing the things that make you happy, believe in freedom, believe in being good to others, if that's the pathway you tread, of course. And a lot of good can come to you, in those ways, and less karmic backlash, I guess. But, you know, there are a lot of dark practitioners that don't believe in karma anyway. So I guess that works for them. You know, and I don't really want to pull hairs on any of that. You know, because, I mean, I have my own way of believing there. Karmic backlash, I believe that it finds everybody. I believe a lot of people might reject it, and in the way they reject it, they might can protect themselves from it, depending on who they are, what they believe in or do. I like being a cap. What do you mean by a cap? My demon is Azael, my angel Michael. I've got a few of my own in friends on the other side as well. I treaded some different paths within spirituality. I don't know if you know what a sentinel is. I don't want to go a lot into that because I don't want to make this channel a lot about that. Oh, Capricorn. Okay. The initialization of it there just threw me off. I like being a Capricorn. I like being a Libra. I guess being a Libra is what puts me here today, right? It makes me who I am as a teacher, as trying to be a balanced scale for other people, one who likes to think a lot or keep things organized, believe in every object or prospect of the law, I guess. In this particular case, I'm talking about spiritual law. And I like being a Libra female. Although I can tell you, a lot of Libra males might have a lot of trouble sometimes in life. You know, things just don't work out too smoothly a lot of times for Libra males, but I'm not by any means saying all of them. Not every person falls within the scope of what their astrological on a light surface dictates, or even completely on a real strong surface, right? But, you know, believe in you, do what you feel is right. Just be good at it, always, and be magnificent. That's the way I believe, right? You got to be the best you can be at whatever you set your mind to be in. Me, I'm just trying to get good at doing the videos again, at trying to work the software, at trying to work with YouTube's algorithm, etc., and trying to make sure that I'm on par with what I'm supposed to be doing while thinking about all of that with what I'm teaching or talking to you guys here about. I am a female Capricorn born under a full moon eclipse. Well, that's always nice. Let's see. In what way does that work for an individual, though? That's curious. Let's see. The hidden face of the moon. So there could be a lot of secrets there. Mystery. Could refer to a lot of duality. A full moon. Like everything, like it all, like it in the palm of your hand. But knowledgeable or smart enough to know to keep a lot of that tucked back. And keep certain aspects of yourself hidden. Especially if they're along, like a lot of us have a lot of very childish sides to us. And those sides only come out to the people that really know us really well, right? But, you know, a good aspect of the Capricorn and the full moon, or the eclipse for that matter, especially the eclipse, is knowing when to keep things tucked back, hidden away, or a mystery. And, you know, so that says that you've got it. Anyway, you guys, I thought I would hop on and say hi to you guys, and I don't know how long we've been on here. Anybody know? Just really, it's beyond me. The Saturn Sun. Saturn is good. Just the poison gases. It's a nice place to look at but I wouldn't want to visit. Anyway, I don't know. I think that there's so much to all of us, and the astrologicals could point a way of understanding for other people to do with each one of us, but we're not all totally pigeonholed into our signs. I know how to keep things for myself, she says. Yeah, I can hear that in the way you just worded that. And then the giggles. But it's good to know that. With me, it's the idea of knowing by logic, weighing things out deeply, what I can or can't do, what I can or can't say, or just what I shouldn't divulge. And that, to me, is an air idea of things, what you just shouldn't convey or shouldn't say or do, you know. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to jump off of here for the night. I am starting to wear down quickly. I'm not used to this. It has been a very long time, but I love talking to you two. I mean, there are two or three people I've talked to only. I think 2 people. Anyway, I've really enjoyed talking to you guys, and I wish 3 people. Taylor was here earlier. I don't know if she still is, but yeah, it's been a long time. I guess I wear down early, and I'm gonna hop off here, and I'm gonna be doing more of all of this. So it's not the end. Think about different subjects that y'all would like to hear about and type them into the comments below the video that it makes. And that way I can get a beat on what y'all would like to hear from me or what y'all would like to talk about. In some way, form, or fashion, I've got to get my video camera right here so it doesn't look like I'm looking down the entire time you guys are talking to me. And I'm sure that's been the case, but it kind of is irritating to try to look straight up while I'm trying to talk to you guys and try to keep a beat on what I'm trying to say. Thank you guys. I really love you for dropping in. No, you're no bother. Never a bother. And that's what I try to be there for whenever I can. I still don't know who you are on my Facebook. You're going to have to hop up and wave at me on Facebook to let me know. Right? Right? Knowing what to say and when. Absolutely. And that's even in light of our past conversation or our most recent talk, or in with my trying to get used to talking on here on YouTube again. It's been a long time. 6 years is quite a while. But I love you guys, and I'm going to hop off of here. I hate to cut it short. Peace out with y'all. Be strong, you, and much love to you, right? And I will be doing this again, and I hope y'all will be there. Hey, girl, what is going on? You're coming in at the end of the stream, or when I was just letting it all go, girl. I know that I didn't give you guys the heads up on Facebook that I were going to be doing this. And so I caught a lot of you guys by storm, I know. I mentioned to you I want to talk. You know what? That's going to wreck my brain. A few people do that. I be here. But yeah, y'all are going to have to jump up here and talk to me some more. No worries. I can watch the replay. Okay, well that's good, and maybe you can be in on the next one. I'm going to try to get back on a schedule with all of this so that you guys will know exactly what I'm doing. I just kind of really threw this up spontaneously at the spur of the moment and didn't give anybody at all a heads up. You know, I'm just glad there was somebody on here and I didn't have to go to bed with my head held down in shame because I was in the total corner of aloneness over there or whatever, you know. But yeah, I'm going to try to put it on a schedule so that y'all know about what day, about what time, and not do it so spontaneously and give like an hour heads up, you know, from now on or something, you know. But this was to really test my equipment, to tell you the truth, and to say hi to you guys, and see who all would come up and, try to talk to me. It's good to know who your friends are, right? And not saying all the other people that didn't catch it, aren't my friends either at the same time. But y'all have a good night. Take care of yourself. And I'm glad y'all stuck with me. Y'all waited until I could get back and doing my thing here. And that we could, come back being at one with each other again. Anyway, so peace out. Merry part to you and bright blessings. Take care of yourself. I love ya. Good night.